Okay, let's just dive right into this. You know that incredible dream living rent-free in your head? Maybe it's been bouncing around in there for years. It's that book you're going to write, the business you want to launch, or maybe you want to create a highly attractive, detailed video to kickstart a YouTube channel. You keep describing this completely different life to your friends. But here's the catch. You're always talking about it in the future tense, aren't you? It's always something that is going to happen, just barely out of reach. Well, welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack one of the most quietly painful psychological patterns in modern life. The person who dreams absolutely enormous, but does almost nothing.
You're smart. You've researched your idea to death. You've planned it all out in your mind, and honestly, you truly believe in it. You know it has serious potential. You're definitely not lacking the intellect or the vision here. You've got all the mental ingredients for success lined up perfectly. So, I gotta ask you this hard question directly. Why is the needle still stuck at 0?
Well, what's really fascinating here is that the reason you're stuck, it's not a character flaw. People are super quick to label themselves as just lazy, or they'll say they're paralyzed by some classic fear of failure. But honestly, that's rarely the truth for big dreamers. Instead, what you're actually dealing with is a highly sophisticated, largely unconscious psychological mechanism. You haven't failed to start because you're weak. You haven't started because your brain has built a brilliantly effective system to protect you. And today, we're going to expose exactly how that system works, piece by piece.
All right, let's move to section 1, the biochemical trap, and look at how the dream itself becomes the drug.
So here's the crazy neuroscience behind your inaction. When you simply imagine the future, say that incredibly successful YouTube channel taking off or holding your published novel in your hands, your brain literally releases a rush of dopamine. That's the exact same chemical that fires when you actually achieve something in the real world. Your brain doesn't sharply distinguish between the vivid imagination of winning and the reality of winning. So the fantasy itself gives you this real, potent biochemical reward, and you didn't even have to lift a single finger to get it.
The absolutely crucial point here is that you're not failing to act despite dreaming, you're failing to act because of it. The dream itself has literally become the drug. All that planning, the intense daydreaming, the thrill of the idea, it's already paying you out in dopamine. If you actually start doing the hard, messy work, well, you risk running into obstacles. You risk failure. And biologically speaking, taking action threatens to ruin that perfect, frictionless high your brain is currently enjoying.
Next up, we enter section 2, ego protection, and the identity you are so fiercely protecting.
Think about this phrase for a second. I could be extraordinary if I just tried. That is such a comfortable, safe identity to carry around, isn't it? It makes you feel full of limitless potential. Psychologists actually have a specific term for preserving this identity, self-handicapping. It's a super sophisticated form of ego protection. You see, the moment you seriously pursue your dream, that potential identity is suddenly at risk. Suddenly there's hard evidence. You can be measured, and yeah, you might fall short. But as long as you don't truly try, you can't truly fail. Your unwritten book safely remains a masterpiece in the realm of infinite possibilities. Ironically, the people with the absolutely biggest, most world-changing dreams are often the most paralyzed, simply because their ego has the most to lose.
Now you might be sitting there thinking, wait, I am working toward my goal. Well, let's look at section 3, the illusion of momentum, and explore why planning merely feels like progress. Enter the incredibly seductive trap of pseudo-work. Pseudo-work involves all those little activities that totally trick your brain into feeling a sense of forward momentum, but they completely shield you from the vulnerability of actually putting your real work out into the world. It's the sneakiest trap because your lazy, reward-hungry brain happily accepts these low-risk tasks as genuine progress. You feel incredibly busy, yet you are 100% safe from failure.
Let's look at the symptoms, and I guarantee we've all done this checklist. You buy 3 premium notebooks for the project, you make a meticulously curated mood board, you read 7 biographies of people who've already achieved your goal, and, most dangerously, you tell all your friends about your brilliant plans over dinner. Interestingly enough, deep psychological research shows that publicly announcing your goal actually decreases your likelihood of achieving it. Why? Because the social recognition and the oohs and ahs from your friends just gave you that dopamine hit. You already got the reward of being the innovator, and your motivation to actually do the hard work just quietly dissolves.
Let's peel back another layer for section 4, the fear nobody names. This is about fearing the ordinary reality. This beautifully illustrates the clash happening right inside your mind. On one side, you have the cinematic dream. In your head, your success plays out like a movie montage, full of sudden genius, flow states, and dramatic mastery.
On the other side is the ordinary Tuesday reality. Actually doing the work means sitting completely alone in a quiet room, fighting with terrible sentences, feeling kind of foolish, and staring at spreadsheets at 11 p.m. The dream feels cinematic and grand, right? But the reality of executing it feels wildly mundane. And this creates a profound friction. For sensitive, imaginative people, ordinary effort literally feels like a betrayal of the grand vision. If the process is boring or frustrating or unglamorous, your brain starts telling you, hey, you must be doing it wrong. It's this deep, paralyzing perfectionism that fundamentally rejects reality. It's an absolute unwillingness to let your beautiful, shiny dream become an ordinary, frustrating Tuesday. So what do? You retreat right back to the fantasy where it stays perfect. Finally, let's explore Section 5, the someday illusion, and how we rely on the cognitive distortion of time. It's the ultimate excuse, the trump card every big dreamer eventually plays. I'll do it someday. Someday when the timing is right. But someday hides a massive cognitive distortion. This is staggering. Neuroscience literally proves that your brain views your future self as a complete stranger. Brain imaging studies show that when you picture this future, more capable, energetic version of you, your brain lights up the exact same neural regions it uses when thinking about some random person on the street. It literally doesn't register that future you is actually you. Because of this neurological glitch, when you say someday, you are quite literally waiting for a stranger to show up and do the heavy lifting for you. You assume this stranger will somehow have endless willpower, zero distractions, and absolutely perfect circumstances. And the tragic irony of this entire illusion, that future stranger has the exact same fears, the exact same habits, and the exact same excuses you have right now. When someday arrives, they're just going to keep waiting for their future self too. So let's summarize this uncomfortable truth. You aren't broken. You aren't fundamentally flawed. You've just built an incredibly efficient, completely unconscious system to get the reward without ever taking the risk. The fantasy pays you in dopamine. Your ego identity stays completely safe from failure. The pseudo work makes you feel like you're making progress, and the illusion of someday keeps hope alive indefinitely. Honestly, it's a very human response to the genuine terror of caring deeply about something.
But here's the thing. Every year you spend living inside the dream instead of working toward it, you aren't protecting yourself from failure. You are guaranteeing a slow, quiet failure, the failure of never truly trying. The solution to breaking out of this isn't to buy another planner. You don't need some intense new morning routine. The crack in the wall is exactly what we've done in this explainer today. Seeing the mechanism so clearly that you can no longer unsee it. You can no longer pretend that your mood boards and future tense dinner conversations are actual progress.
The dream you have is real, and your ability to bring it into the world is just as real. The psychological trap is now fully exposed, and you know exactly how your brain is tricking you into standing still. So the only question left to answer is this. Tomorrow morning, are you going to keep feeding the fantasy? Or are you finally going to do the messy, ordinary work of making it real?